I think that this question of the appropriate container for these experiences is not going to have an easy answer, and it's not going to have an easy answer because it exists at the heart of an extraordinary predicament that the West has set up for itself for centuries. And in some ways, this question is just a subset of a much larger set of questions about how we integrate religious perception, sacred perception, with a essentially scientific, materialist view of the world. And that this problem is, driving world history at this point in a different guise than what we're talking about right here. But this particular question of an appropriate container can't resolve that larger predicament. So what do you do when you're faced with a predicament? You move forward gingerly. You recognize that there's a fundamental ambiguity in the situation, and you try to seed the culture with the appropriate questioning to prevent some of the excessive sides of it on the science side as well as the shamanic side. That it does require a kind of self-reliance, even if partly what we're talking about is something more than just relying on the individual, that there is a group structure, there is a kind of a master of ceremonies or someone who's holding the space. Nonetheless, when you boil it down, we still have this kind of need for a sort of self-reliance and an acceptance of that predicament. And I'm often disturbed by the excesses in the religious dimension that I see among people, where it really just seems to have increased their delusion and their willingness to embrace diluted ideas as a way to kind of buffet or protect themselves from the rawness of our situation. And maybe that's something that's good for some people, I don't really know. But to my mind, there's a more stark encounter that is being asked of us through this situation, and that our attempt to build an appropriate framework to acknowledge the numinosity and the noetic quality, that's our work, and that by doing that work, we're partly healing this much larger rift, this much more historically powerful crack that the West has sort of set up for itself since the rise of science. So it's a very, it's going to be a limited success rate, but at the same time, it's extremely core work to just keep coming back to this question. To me, seems very healing in itself, even if there's no real easy answer.